So we're at like 8 grand of sustainable recurring revenue with a and proposal out. And I just haven't heard, it hasn't been the deal earned yet for another retainer that will put us up between 11 and 13 grand a month, just in retainer. That doesn't include the other probably 20 and 30 grand of just one-off projects for the year. I never would have dreamed that it would be at that place.
All right, all right. What is happening, everyone? I apologize for the delay. Darren had technical difficulties.
Oh, I see how you are.
As you guys can see, we are about to get into it. Today's going to be an awesome session. We have Darren, who is willing to share a little bit more about his journey and kind of everything that he's been working on over the last year. So, Darren, dude, welcome, welcome. Appreciate you taking the time to join us and kind of dive deep for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Glad to be here. Glad to share some things,
For sure. So first off, dude, why don't you give everyone kind of like a quick introduction as to who you are and just like how we got here.
Yeah, how we got here. Roller coaster, that's how we got here. But yeah, Darren from Indianapolis, Indiana, the great Midwest, good Midwest boy here. And man, my story in 35 seconds was I was in music for years, music producer, doing that whole thing. Obviously, you can kind of tell from the remnants of the broken down studio, and was doing that forever. But then just as things picked up on kind of side, like in the business I was doing, my companies that I was working for were asking me to do creative things and doing some more video pieces. And man, one day I woke up, I was like, I love this. I absolutely love this. And so at that point, I had no idea what I was doing. So obviously, you're doing all the research, you're doing all the YouTube studies, you're doing all the courses that you can find, which is obviously 14-day, and just got plugged in to what contentcreator.com is doing. And obviously, met you through that, jumped in the mastermind, and it just kind of went from, hey, let's see if I can learn a few things, to like literally holding on to the back of the roller coaster going, this is working. I didn't know this was happening. And so it's just been a crazy journey, man, of really like 3-4 years ago, I wasn't even thinking full-time filmmaking, commercial business, like none of that. I was thinking, how can I play more gigs? How can I get more music artists to work with? And next thing I know, I'm here. So it's been man, it's been crazy, but it's been awesome.
Was there anything in particular that led to the shift away from music?
I would say first and foremost, it was kind of burnout. It was, I'm a dad of three. I'm pushing the big 4-0 here soon. And a handful of years ago, I was doing the social media game. I was chasing artists down for like $100. Like I would, get a sync licensing piece, and they send me my $200 check, and I'm like, this is great, but how can I sustain a family on this? And it was just,
Great,
I
but
think
how
that
can I sustain a
what
family?
that was the start of kind of the like, oh man, I got to do something different. I was just tired, the rat race of just trying to chase down artists and all that. And then I think one business conversation I had, and it was like a 3 grand. They said yes, and I was like, oh, this is different. This is different. So I think that's what led to it. Was just I was just tired, man.
So what was kind of like, did you like, how did we land on content creation? Did you see a 14-day filmmaker ad and say, hey, I've seen this guy anthony 8 billion times, maybe I'll check
Yeah.
this out? Or how did that kind of play out?
Man, I'm self-taught basically from a video standpoint, right? So in my research of just trying to get better lighting, better camera settings, what do I do? I would hold a camera, I had no idea what I was doing, right? And in that research, it turned into, oh, there's a you understand the process of it all. And so with it being as cheap as it was, I was like, take my money, like, yeah, let's go. And so in that process, it kind of illuminated the reality that I was working, like I had two businesses that I was full time with, right? So two companies made up my full time time, and I was doing content for them. I was recording their podcast, and because I knew audio, I was editing all that. And then it was like, well, I mean, we got these Zoom calls. Why don't we just throw it up on YouTube? And I was already doing content for these companies before I even knew what it was, right? So after going through 14 days, I was like, man, this makes sense. Like I see how this could go beyond just the people that I'm working for now. So that really started my wheels and my ideas turning. And I said, man, why don't I take these two people and flip them to clients, and then I'll just go get more clients, right? And so I had a conversation with both of them. One's a family business, right? So that was an easy conversation. Other's a good buddy of mine that I've worked for and with for years. I was like, look, this is what I want to do. And they were like, yeah, let's go. And that was kind of the start of just some crazy. So
What was it surprising that they were down?
to do that,
Yeah.
to let me do that, uh, yes and no. The family business, man, like my dad and my brother and those that are kind of running that whole thing, like, dude, they're champions of mine from day one. Like if I
Mhm.
was trying to be a music producer, they're all in. If I'm trying to be a video guy, they're all in. And they knew I was kind of getting to that place of just like, what's next? I got to do something. So that was an easy conversation. The buddy of mine that I work with, that was a little bit of a tougher conversation because it's like, hey, I'm doing less with you. And him and I were good. Like we would dream together and we'd banter and like dream of ways of growing his business. And so he lost a little bit of that. So that was a little bit more tough conversation, but it wasn't like there wasn't a ton of resistance in that.
Cool. So let's change gears a little bit. So that's kind of
Yeah.
all your backstory. Where are you at now? What's life like?
Yeah. So when I flipped to making those my first two clients, I just started the process of going out and finding more clients. So that's when I jumped into the mastermind. Huge shout out to the mastermind because I had no idea what I was doing or what I was getting into. So I just started making phone calls and talking to people that I knew. Luckily, I mean, I'm known as the music guy and currently in the, well, at that point was known as a music guy in circles. So it was a creative step. So it wasn't like a huge, people were like, what are you doing? You wasn't like I was trying to go be an accountant or something, you know? And so I just started making calls, you know, and one guy reached out to me to do a video and I was like, yeah, man. And that led to another, and it just, and simultaneously I was saying yes to all these projects over here that were just coming my way and failing my way through it, right? I was also in the mastermind, learning the process, learning the steps, learning the insider ways of doing it. Like I still kind of do this where I look at stuff that you've created and you're like, oh, you charge 3,000 for that. I'm like, well, that's 3,000. I charge them over there. I have no idea why you charge 3,000 or how you break it down or where it goes, but I'm just literally kind of figuring it out as I was going, and still do that a little bit today. But you know, now we're looking at a place where the agency is we just lost one client a couple of months back, so we're at like 8 grand of sustainable recurring revenue with a proposal out, and I just haven't heard. It hasn't been the deal earned yet for another retainer that will put us up, you know, between 11 and 13 grand a month just in retainer. That doesn't include the other. I was trying to add it up earlier so I could be better at telling you on the spot, but it's between probably 20 and 30 grand of just one-off projects for the year. So, I mean, altogether, it's like kind of like what, you know, I never would have dreamed that it would be at that place, you know, and now I have a project manager working with me who also does some edits. I have another editor that's helping me. I have somebody doing kind of some like client communication pieces for me and just making sure that I'm staying on top of everything. So it really quickly went from just a one-man show faking his way through it to like, oh, I got like team members and stuff. And like, I can like delegate things and I can say, no, make it better, or, you know, like all that stuff. So it really, really quickly went from, I had no idea what I was doing to I at least know how to move forward.
Yeah. And what kind of work are you doing for clients? Are you doing videos? Are you doing ads, websites? Fill us in.
Yep. So most of the clients that I'm working with right now on the retainer basis are one of two. They're either like video podcast, or they're doing like YouTube, LinkedIn style, 3 to 5 minute talking head videos. And we're doing, those pretty repetitively, right? All of the clients that I work with, I typically am doing a VBC of some sort, and then kind of your main assets, right? So your testimonial videos, your frequently asked questions, things of that nature. So if they're one-off packages, they're usually the last package I think I did was right at 10 grand. The one before that was 12, and one before that was 8. And they all include, some type of form of VBC with a couple of assets included in that. So that's where we're sitting right now. We're getting locked in on them VBCs, if you know what I'm saying. So
Yes, sir.
it's
Dude,
really good.
That
Really
video
good.
changed the game for us.
Mhm.
And I know, guys, you want to see a little bit more about a breakdown with VBCs. I'm working on something. It will be out soon. So Tyler
Sweet.
asked, how did the 30-day content strategist course help your business? Then how did the mastermind help it even more? Let me rephrase it, though, because Darren actually was in the mastermind before I built 30-day content strategist. So he was actually someone who I basically took all the questions from that early cohort
Yeah.
and built
Yeah.
30-day with it. So instead, I'll ask, how is the mastermind different than just a program where you go at it alone?
Oh man, the mastermind is like, well, I'll say it this way: the course is like the road that you walk, right? That's how you're going to get to where you want to be. The mastermind's like that guide walking that road with you and making sure that you have the ability to see the potholes that might come up. Maybe if you need to veer off and move around a little bit, like they're going to walk you through some of that. And that's how I would describe the mastermind. In the sense that I'm about to jump on a call with a client and I'm like, I have no idea what I need to tell him or what I need to do. Hey guys, this is what it's at. This is where I'm at. I get 3, 5, 7, 10 comments like, this is what you should do. This is how you should think about it. Okay, sweet. I got it. I know. The days that I feel, which at the beginning were a lot, were like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And you have imposter syndrome and you trying to fight it off. And you're just, if you're in your basement by yourself, that's hard to do. But you jump in the mastermind, guys, I'm struggling today, just trying to put this together. I don't know what I'm doing. They're encouraging you. They're talking about it. They're dropping their wins in. You're dropping your wins in. It's a game changer on that front when it comes to the mastermind.
Cool. Brian asked for the podcast, are you shooting them or using something like Riverside?
For the ones that I'm currently working on, we are shooting them. There's a studio built out. We built out a studio for one of the clients that I work with, and so we just kind of use that as our studio space as well. So we'll go in, set up a couple of cameras, and record the podcast that way. There are other clients that we're kind of, in the process of talking with, or I've talked to before, where we pitch the idea of Riverside. That way it's a little less or a little more cost effective, a little less for them, right? But yeah, that's where we're at right now, is we're actually physically going in and filming.
Cool. Yeah, and I feel like that Riverside shift can also come, like, it's good to work in person with the clients for a bit because it lets you get them hype on camera, like work through it all, and then like over time it's almost like you train them in a sense as to like how they can be better.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, dude. So Anthony Gallo chimed in. Darren Cooper is the man. So
Anthony.
I wanted to talk about do you remember that 36K deal you closed? Because I remember the call where we jumped on. You're like, dude, I just closed a deal, and like I kind of did the math wrong in the meeting, and then they were just like, yeah, or something. Tell us a little bit about that deal, and more specifically, like that was one of your bigger deals where you were nervous going into it. You didn't you were really leaning on the things that we were talking about and
Oh
just
yeah,
going full in. So
100%.
going in just about that.
Yeah, I love that story because I think I've told this to you a couple of times, Ceebs. It was the classic like just fail forward thing. Like I'm on the call and like if you've gone through like the sales training and all the course material and you have it in your brain, it's something different when you're actually like on the call with the client. So I remember that distinctively because he's like talking about Facebook ads down the road. And I'm like, yeah, you need to really like invest thousands of dollars into Facebook. Like, I have no idea what I'm talking about, you know, and like just trying to sell it, just trying to go. And that was just literally, I got off the phone. I was sweating profusely. I sat back on the couch, was like, there's no way he's going to ever want to like work with me. And then we jumped on another call like 2 days later. He's like, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's just make it happen. So the deal, the way it was broken down was he is a functional medicine doctor that was looking to just do more YouTube content. When he started, he wanted to do a YouTube every week. He wanted to do a podcast every week. He wanted thumbnails for all this stuff. He was like, by the time it was all said and done, it was like, whoa, dude, this is crazy. Um, but in the process of talking to him, walking him through a little bit like of just all the things you train, right? Like this is what to expect when we go live on YouTube. This is how we're going to do it. He originally wanted to shoot his own content and just have me edit it. So that's where we started with, but then very quickly working with him, it was like, nah, man, we got to be in person. And so that deal really went from like, just no idea what I was talking about to just pitching some of these packages that I've heard you talk about. Like you were like, we do a $3,000 package. So I just sold him on a $3,000 package. And I was like, I'll figure out all the other back end stuff as we get into it. And so in our conversations, that's really kind of where you were pushing me is like, hey, just get him into a retainer, get him into a retainer. And that's what I tried for. And I felt like I was swinging and missing. But I was still swinging. And obviously it connected and it worked, which was awesome. Yeah.
Speaking of swinging, there's another conversation that sticks out. And I remember how pumped you were one day when you built your list for outreach. This had to be over 6 months ago now.
Oh yeah. Easy.
I would love to know how that outreach list is going.
I burned it. That's how it's going. I had a very wise man tell me, don't do that. Do it smarter, not harder. So yeah, I in my thought process, because the way that my business started was I was personally calling everybody, right? And I had gotten through a handful of people and then business picked up. Well, there's still a lot of contacts that I've had for all the years of people that I had. And so I just started picking up with, I'm going to reach out to 5 people every day for the next however long it takes, right? Copy paste messages, changing names at the top, making sure stuff was good, and was doing that whole thing. Boom, 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 boom. Most people were like, yeah, we'll keep you in mind. Keep you in mind. That's awesome. Hey, proud of you, all that kind of stuff. And I remember talking to you about it, and you were like, dude, just go post on your social media that this is what you do now and stop reaching out individually to everybody. And I had all my excuses of the algorithm hates me and nobody's going to see it and blah, blah, blah. But I was like, well, Ceebz told me to do it. And now I can't talk to him next week on our call and tell him I didn't do it. So I have to do it now. Another plus to the mastermind is you're kind of your feet are held to the fire.
I will come after you.
No,
I got an RV. I'm mobile.
All of a sudden he's in Indy just going, what are you doing? So yeah, I was like, man, okay. And I'm okay in front of the camera. I've done enough content, and as a musician and being on a microphone and doing all that, I'm okay enough. But obviously it still takes a little bit of, and I distinctly remember I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it like I'm on a walk. You know, I'm gonna take my phone and go on a walk and hey everybody, you know, just tell me. And I shot that thing like 47 times, you know, like just trying to get it right. Then I played it for my wife and she's like, it's good. Little long, but it's good. You know, I was like, oh crap. Okay, gotta go do it again. And so finally blasted it out to everybody. And then I worked smarter by texting family and a couple of friends and just saying, hey, I posted something. It would be huge if you went on, liked, tagged, said something, anything that you could do to help that post just go. And so obviously my mom was the first one to do that because that's the way my mom is. And then the rest of the family, and that post kind of took on the life of its own. And next thing I know, people are like, hey, we need that kind of thing. Let's jump on a call. Hey, let's do this, blah, blah, blah. And so from that one post, it generated, I mean, not a ton, it was probably 3 to 5 conversations. But what it did, which is what you were originally telling me, is it sets you up as somebody that's doing that. Like all of a sudden that is something that people know me as. And so now when I bump into people, they're like, hey dude, how's the business going? Oh, I didn't even know that you knew I was doing that, so that really sparked kind of some crazy, like, it was just you kicking my butt, man. It was just like, okay, this is where I have to be. This is what I have to do. So
yeah. So was it just that one post, or like how has it evolved since then?
It's evolved since then because I always know that I want to create content for myself. Like that's something that I'm passionate about as well. Like I love helping other people create their content, but I want to create more content for myself. And to say that I've dialed that in perfectly, I haven't. But what I started to do from that is to go, you know what? I'm just going to start sharing thoughts and ideas. I'm a positive, encouraging person as just how I'm built. So I'm like, you know what? Whether it's about video stuff or it's about just like, hey, go chase everything that you have inside of you, I'm just going to start creating some content. Simple as easy. So I set a time in my calendar for every other Monday, try to shoot 6 no yeah 6 thoughts of some sort. And then every other day I go, hey, I gotta just post something, a photo, a reel, so just go in there and post something about what's going on. And so I was doing that real consistently for a handful of weeks, just getting that out there. The last couple of weeks, vacation and kids being crazy, I haven't been as strong at it, but just trying to just share thoughts and ideas and not be afraid of, oh, what should I post? How should I post it? What should it look like? It needs to be perfect. Sometimes it'll just be a picture with a little thought,
Like you making a
so
PBJ sandwich?
yes. Yes, it was so funny, man. You posted about that yesterday or whatever. I was like, peanut butter jelly. What's he talking about? I was like, oh, that post I did. It was just like I was just making my kids a peanut butter jelly sandwich. I was like, I'm just gonna set this.
Did we lose him? Hello?
Consistent with it and not overthink it, which is what my big thing is. I always overthink it. Still to this day, will find myself overthinking it.
Yeah, I hear you. Give me a second, make sure.
I can share today. So like I was like, man, I need to put something on my stories. And so me and the team just started tracking all of our time digitally on this thing called Toggle or something like that, TOGGL. It just kind of helps me just see where my time is going so that later down the road we can start to go, oh, creating thumbnails takes about 4 hours a month. We need to make sure we budget that and all that. But it was hilarious because as I was doing it, I was like, man, it really kind of freaked me out because I would go to pick up my phone to jump on social media, and then I was like, no, I can't. I'm toggling my time. I'm not going to say I spent 15 minutes just searching on social. And so it really kind of forced me to do something. So I just jumped on there because I'd already opened the app and was like, hey guys, we just started tracking our time. And have you ever tracked your time? It's really making me see that, dude, this is I'm easily distracted. And so I put the little comment if you've ever done that kind of thing, and just trying to generate content or interactions. And then really it boils down to like it's just something that I can post that points to I'm working with a team with my clients, like you can say those words or say those kind of key phrases that makes people remember, oh, he's doing video work for people and that's what he's talking about. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm no Gary V by any stretch of the means, but we're out here trying to do something.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. So the crap, I had a good question. I just totally lost it because when you said Gary V,
No,
I thought of Gary Ceebz.
sorry.
Um,
Uh, there
what
it
was I
is.
gonna say? So you're doing the video work with your clients. Is
Mhm.
there a reason, or actually, let me rephrase it. How do you prove results to your clients? Do you run ads?
Right now, so in the infancy of the business, we're basically working towards ads. So the clients that I have or started with were either one-off projects that just needed the content, or the ongoing ones were already established and kind of moving some things forward, right? So some of the podcasts that I was working for originally, that's just by staying consistent, they're starting to see growth, right? Usually with my first on, like the first couple ongoing clients that I had, consistency for them was a win because they had tried it on their own for so long and it never worked. But now, much like you in the mastermind, I would show up to a shoot once a month with my camera. They better have their stuff ready and we're shooting this thing, or I'm spending $3,000 for nothing. So at the infancy of it, it's all about keeping them consistent, right? And then offering them and giving them the assets that they can put on their website and get in the right place. Two of the clients that we're working with, I'm just now starting to dabble with ads, right? Like, hey, I'm not charging you, just give me the ad money. Let me figure out a couple of things. And we're very slowly building that and doing that. I mentioned earlier about the client that I lost. Um, that was because I couldn't show ROI.
Okay.
And that was 100% on me, a little bit, but it was 100% on me in the sense that I was creating amazing looking content for them, but nobody was watching. There was no views, there was no anything. So by the time I even felt comfortable enough saying we got to do ads, he found an agency that would run ads and help him with his whole package. And so they left very much like, we love what you do, we love what you do, but we have to get business. And so, dude, for the next 2 weeks, man, I sulked about that one because I was like, that is everything Ceebz tells me not to do, and I did it. You know, like that was a huge wake up call for me to go, we have to show them ROI. They have, whether that's just you're staying consistent and putting out content and that's an ROI for you, awesome. That's great. But if you're trying to grow your business, that's another story. And we can't just send you pretty videos each month. And so that was a huge wake up call for me.
How does it feel knowing like you put all that work up front into those assets that you know are going to like produce time over time, and now the agency will probably get all the credit?
Yeah, yeah. That's a big punch in the
That used to
gut,
drive
right?
me crazy, man, because it was like then they would come back to me and try to hire me at a discount, and I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I,
and that was just that sucked so bad because it was like I knew better, right? Like that was the thing. It was like I knew, and I could feel it maybe a couple of weeks before. That's why I tell people to trust your gut. Like if you have a client that you're starting to feel like things are they're going to call me one day and cancel. Uh, Jump on the phone with them, dive in. Hey, how are we doing? What are we missing that you need? And allow them to say, we need some ROI. We are losing money on this. Okay, well, this is how we're going to do it. And then that opens up that conversation to get you into either ads or other ways that you can begin to help them grow their business.
cool. So what's in store over the next, like, let's say 12 months? Where do your kind of like high level vision goals, where do you
Mm-hmm.
want to take the company, how big you want to scale it?
Mm-hmm. I hesitate saying some of this out loud, but when I was on vacation, I read the old Grant Cardone 10X. and I realized that where I wanted to grow the company was pretty small potatoes. And so I'm just now getting my mind around. I've been writing it every morning like it's happened, is I want to get this business to a $10 million a year business. That's not going to happen overnight, obviously. And it sounds so weird to me when I'm like, I made $100,000 this year, and now we're going to make it 10 million. So know that I kind of cringe when I say that too. But as I've been dreaming, especially towards the end of the year, right, thinking of 24, I'm like, we got to do this. And so by utilizing the things that I've learned in the mastermind and the group of, your website assets, your social media ongoing content, and your ads, those are kind of our three pillars that we're really going to go after and set. Then what I want to do is I want to get my retainer clients. I'd love to double my retainer clients and have that, at 20 plus a month, 20 plus grand a month just from retainers. And then, obviously double that again to your one-off projects that are happening. Now that doesn't equal 10 million, but I think over the next couple of years, it's going to be very heavy, like helping you produce the content like we are. But eventually what I want to do is I want to branch out into helping people that might not be able to spend $3,000 a month with us, but like, how can we help them through online courses, through ways of workshops that they could come to. I'm starting to see that I can't get to $10 million unless there's ways that I can get money in the door that's not me hour for hour, dollar for dollar kind of thing. So I'm already looking ahead going, okay, there's probably, we're doing a lot of podcasting. So how can we help people get their podcasting studio set up and run their first podcast and do that whole thing? And how can we help with, setting up their studio so that they can do their own ongoing content, right? And then allow the agency to be, I want to grow that to a few million dollars a year on that front, but then all these, passive income for, using a term like that, but those things start to generate those and get those rolling, because I think that's going to be a huge way that we can level up. So I think in 24 it's going to be a lot of what we're doing now: more clients, more retainers, more one-off projects, but all with the goal of continuing to learn how to help our clients actually grow their business, and 5-10x every client that we work with.
That was the biggest takeaway I had out of that whole sentence there. Everything was trying to figure out how to help someone do this, trying to help them do this, trying to help them. It was much less about, oh, I want to do this because I want to buy a Lambo or something. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
Literally the reason I'm in the spot I am now, we did over 7 figures in revenue this year between both companies.
Nice.
Is literally just showing up to help people. I never wanted a team originally, but then it was like, man, but all these people need help. And if I can't do all these shoots and edits and management, I gotta pass this here and this there and that's there. And then it was, okay, creatives don't know business. Film school doesn't teach them any of this stuff that I've just obsessed over. How can we help more people? By doing that, we'll charge higher rates. The industry will be elevated as a whole. You know what I mean? And next thing you know,
absolutely,
in an RV somewhere.
You still don't know where you're at. You have no idea. You haven't looked outside yet today.
No, dude. No, I'm in the darkness. It's cold, and it means time to focus.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
So if you guys do have any questions, be sure definitely to drop them below. Darren, where's a good spot people can connect with you? Let's just give you a quick plug real quick.
Yeah. You plugged it yesterday, but I typically find myself mostly on Instagram. So Darren Andrew Cooper is where you can find me. My name is spelled with 2 R's and an E. One of my clients he is also named Darren, and it's 2 R's and an O. He spells it wrong. No, 1 R and an O. It's completely backwards. So yeah, 2 R's and an E is the way you spell Darren. And that's where I live mostly. I'm going to be ramping up some content here especially in 24. That's a big focus of mine in 24. Now that I've got some editors in place, and now that I got some project management going on and all of that, I want to really step into just cranking out content and getting people seeing what we're doing. But
Yeah.
yeah, Darren Andrew Cooper at Instagram, on the old Instagrams.
And one more thing I want to mention, guys, is Darren mentioned earlier, like he went hard on social for a period of time. It drove in some business, but then he got busy with the business coming in. He started doing sales
Hmm.
meetings, and he shifted his focus then to the sales
Hmm.
process, the operation process, the finance, right?
Hmm.
And then it's like, okay, let's kick up some more business. So the next time
Hmm.
he came back to do a bigger social push, and if you can get noisy for 2 or 3 weeks online, people will literally think you're just posting all the time.
Yep.
So get noisy for 2 or 3 weeks, really focus on it over that period of time. What you're essentially doing is making your marketing system stronger and stronger and stronger each time. So like that
Yep.
first push, you probably did a couple pieces of content because you had to refilm and refilm and refilm and make it
Oh
perfect.
yeah.
And the next time you probably doubled or tripled it and kept going.
Yeah.
Now you don't even need to like put nearly as much energy into that side of things.
Yeah.
So guys, like just know it doesn't need to be consistent. You want to ultimately get it there, right? Because that's where we'll just keep bringing people in. But in the beginning, like just go hard for a couple weeks. Ideally, that will kick in some business, and then you move into your sales process. You get that dialed in.
Mhm.
Move into operations. You get that dialed in, and it's just shoot, edit, repeat. That's the process. The more we do that, yes, that is a very classic Ceebz process. The more we do that, the easier everything becomes. The more we can hire people to do that work and step out of it because
Mhm.
we actually know what we're doing instead of just being like, we got to do something for this client. Just like go figure it out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it really can help you scale quickly, to go from helping 2 other people to now on his own with a team. It's got to be a good feeling, dude.
Dude, it's awesome. In fact, I had yesterday I had our first ever like team Monday call to like get everybody on the same page, look at the week, delegate any tasks at all. Like it literally, I got off the call and I was like, that was like a legit business thing that we just did there. It was like that was cool. And so that's never in a million years did I think that that would be the case. And so yeah, man, I'm blessed. I'm thrilled, and I attest a lot of what I've learned in these groups and hanging out with you and everybody else. The live event, all that was just next. Couldn't say enough good things about it.
You're coming in spring.
I'm working on it. There's a couple of things I got to
Let's
move, but
watch our
yes,
language.
I'm working.
I
I'm
will make
working.
it happen. No,
Yes, I trust me. I am doing
I know,
all of
brother.
it. So,
I mean, I know you're a family man with 3 kids. I know it's not
oof,
easy to get away for a period of time. So thankful for your wife for letting you come last time, and hopefully we
yeah,
can make it happen again this year.
yeah,
So
yeah. The little is turning 1 on Saturday, so hopefully by the time spring rolls around, like yeah, we can leave them a little bit more at that point. So
yeah, yeah, they're like old, and
yeah, it's just like they dress themselves at that point. So
build an online course, teach them how to grow up. No, don't
there it is.
don't
There
do
it
that.
is.
Cool, man. Well, once again, really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day.
Yeah,
If anyone has questions, shoot Darren a message, drop them in here and
yeah,
tag him.
yeah.
Go check out his social media. Like seriously, the way he just started posting after we did that call and he saw the traction from one post. Like it wasn't his first post, right? He tried some other things, but this one took
Hmm.
off. And that was like that little bit of momentum he needed to keep
Yeah,
building that out. So I know a lot of guys are
exactly.
trying to figure out what to say, what to do, who to go after, what's the niche. Just focus on your low hanging fruit. It's going to take you 7 or 8 times more energy to warm up someone who doesn't know who you are and ask them for money versus a friend, a
Mm,
family member, a referral, someone within your network. So
yep,
that's all we got for today, guys. We will catch
yep.
you next time. Keep making moves, keep pitching them high and watching them buy, and we will see you guys next time. All right. Deuces.